So we got our breaker here. We're changing out well, this one doesn't have a UVR in it, so we got to install the UVR. We got a UVR kit. I had to steal the auxes out of the other breaker because they cut the wires all off. It's just easy to just swap it. Big thing on this thing, I've already cycled the breaker, it works. And then it's got to be in the trip position before you start. Once you trip it, do not trip it again once you start taking it apart. And it has to be on a horizontal surface when you're doing this. They do not want you to do this when it's up in the machine, because you have to take this cut off, and there's a pin in here that can fall out. So you have to take it out of the machine and set it down. You wouldn't have to take the plate off if you weren't changing the breaker, but I'm actually changing the breaker out because the other breaker would not reset. So that's the first steps in doing this. The screws you're going to take out this screw, this one here, these two here, these here, and then the cover will come off. So we're going to take the aux out. The wires are short here, so we're going to take the aux out and we're going to put the other aux in. We've got the longer wires. Don't forget the breaker has to be in the trip position, and then you have to take the breaker handle off in order to get these out. Don't once there's a warning, don't move this breaker handle once you take the handle off. So on this auxiliary, there's this little clip on the side. So it goes in like this. You've got to reach down there with a little screwdriver, push that little clip in right there out of your way, and then use a little screwdriver to start prying it up. It's pretty tight. So changing out this UVR, you have to, this is on the HKD breaker 9390. You have to remove the handle. There's 3 screws, a little different than the drawing. The breaker has to be in the trip position first, then remove the handle. Do not trip it again after you remove the handle. The warning on that, some spring pin can fall out. Then once you pull your wires out, then you can pry up on the, this is the UVR on this side, the aux is over here. Just prying up on it with the screwdriver will slide it up and out. There's a little detent thing in here, you can see this right here. It's a little thing that goes in there. You got to be careful that doesn't fall into the breaker, so when you take it out, that goes in the last step. So if you got to change the aux comes out the same way. You just put a little screwdriver under here and it slides right up and out if you got to change the aux. So I'm just going to swap this aux over to the other breaker. Very important though, it's got to be in the trip position. You got to remove the handle before you can get these out. There's a barrier in here too. If your breaker hasn't had a 24 volt UVR or 48 volt UVR in it, the kit comes with a barrier. So we'll get to that in a minute. So now we got our breaker handle taken off. Just the 3 screws that hold it on, and then the aux should come right out now. So we got our wires through, and then we're in position. The handle off, and then all you're going to do, there's a slot. You'll see the slot down in here. You're just going to push this down into the slot until it clicks, so the little latch clicks, and then you're in. You'll know when you're down far enough when you can look in with a flashlight and see that this little clip on here is now behind the plastic and it's down all the way. You just have to get your wires organized, and the aux is in. Voila, it comes out. This is a little thing I was telling you about right here. You gotta be careful. This is supposed to be in here when you do this, so be careful of that thing. It has to go back in. The new one we're swapping. This thing's no good, but I just wanted to see how it came out in this thing. It didn't energize 48 volts to it. Then I got to get the aux out. I haven't quite figured that one out yet, because the new breaker they sent me, well, used breaker, I guess I could have spliced all the wires in, but I don't know if it works. I may try that first before I try swapping this out. So this is the instructions on the intermediate barrier we have here that's got to be put in. So we've got to pull the old one out and then put the new one in. And this is the intermittent plunger they're talking about. There's 2 sizes here that come with the kit, so there must be 2 different. One must be for a molded case breaker. The only little tiny one fits in this breaker. The hole is distinctive size, so show you where the hole is. The hole is right here. Put it in. So we got our wires, put the handle back on, fed the wires through, come out the back. They'll actually go across the back of the breaker, but I'll do that once it's all back together. You can feed that across. So now we're ready to put the trip unit in, and you have to put the little intermediate plunger in. It goes in that little hole, and then we're just going to slide. The breaker is going to slide down into the slot so it snaps. But you got to watch this little lever right here. They want you got to depress it to get it around the edge of the breaker switch. Okay, and it'll have it in. Okay, we've got our trip unit in, and let me tell you, it goes in tight. And you got to keep track of that little intermediate pin in there, make sure it doesn't come out. And then this here, you have to compress this a little bit to get it to go around here as you're putting it down in. But once it goes down in there, you'll hear it. Once it's in, it clicks and holds it in. So now we'll put the handle back on and put the cover back on, get the wires fed through the rest of the way, and it should be good to go. Okay, we've got our breaker back together. Of course, you want to make sure when you're putting your cover back on, all your leads are out of the way inside. And then there's a sticker that goes on the side. There's already one on this. That one's not going to stay stuck anyway. Comes with a sticker up here. Put that on. UVR stickers over here. There's already one on this from before. So, and your cover screws back on. Got it back onto the plate, tight. It says if you have 48 volts available, you can put it to your 48 volt UVR leads, which is the brown and the orange, and make sure the thing closes. But I don't have a 48 volt source, so we're just going to have to install it and use the 48 volts from the UPS.